Get your soccer cleats on and your resumes ready because we're talking about some more firings. We're talking about some soccer. And of course, we're going to talk some football to wrap things up tonight.
It's time to get some SportSense. You're gonna get some SportSense. You better get ready for SportSense. SportSense.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to SportSense. This is the sports show for sports noobs. My name's Cooper Epps, and I'm here with my dad, James Epps.
Hey, Coop.
I thought you might jump in. We got to figure out a rhythm there.
I know. I wasn't going to fill it in for you. I was just going to let you say it.
I usually do, but I don't know what I was going for tonight. So yeah, I'm an art director in Salt Lake City, Utah, and I have a hard time keeping up or caring about sports. My dad here's the total opposite, so he's here to teach me and all of us tonight this week a little bit about sports, what's going on right now, what it means, why it's important. Get your soccer cleats on and your fake trips, because we're going to talk a little soccer tonight. And
I saw the best video meme on this. After you I knew I wasn't going to really talk about soccer, but when you said it, I saw the best one. And I don't know if you've seen it, but I don't know who the woman is, but I mean, it's a woman soccer player, either international, I can't, but they show her coming out of a play, and she just butted heads, and she's bleeding through both nostrils. It's going in her mouth. She's running down the field. She spits it out and said the difference between women soccer players and men. And then it showed one of Ronaldo or somebody barely got hit on his face like this with a finger. Barely. I mean, barely. And he goes, oh, and he's on the ground writhing in pain, and they're bringing out stretchers and the ambulance, and they kept showing that bloodied up woman player. And I thought, you men should be ashamed of yourself. Yeah. But anyway, that's my soccer take tonight.
It's interesting because I have noticed that too. Even as a student, I went to BYU women's soccer,
which they're awesome, right? They've been awesome.
Yeah. Everybody knew it was way better than the men's soccer. You know, and hopefully there's nobody close to the men's soccer team listening to this, but that was kind of the reputation back then. Is that women are way cooler.
Well, they were ranked always in like the top 5 for a while.
Yeah, that's true. They were also
they would go for national championships. Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, okay. Well, yeah. Let's dive into our mailbag first. We had a couple little things people sent in. So this is always rough.
I was at least an inch into the proper era, but not.
You were. So yeah, we got another correction sent in from Ashton saying, poor Carlos Boozer. Dad aged him almost 2 decades, saying he played in the 80s and 90s, which I barely remember you mentioning. I thought you mentioned Boozer twins.
No, well, there's his son. Yeah, because there's his sons.
Is that who's playing now?
Carlos' sons are playing now, freshmen at Duke.
So
I was saying I couldn't remember, and I shouldn't have said 80s. 90s, I was closer. He was a freshman in 99 at Duke, Ashton. Okay, 99, but I should have said the 80s. I at least would have had a ballpark. But I didn't mean to age him that badly.
We're halfway through the 2020s, so I feel like a ballpark of 80s, 90s is a pretty. Yeah. That's a reasonable window to just.
Yeah, I should have done better. I should have done better. 90s, late 90s. Yeah, but
anyway. I'll take your side on that one. But yeah, and then but we got to give Ashton some guff because she decided to be a Duke fan for some reason growing up when you clearly raised us as NC State fans.
Yeah, Caleb, weird. We understand. Caleb lost his way with 8 years at UNC med school and residence. It happens. Fair. I understand that. I get that. Ashton, I don't even know. Yeah, I think she likes, just like my mother, I think she likes certain players on there.
Some cuties?
I think I mentioned before, my mother was a huge sports fan, but her ACC basketball, that was her favorite of all sports.
Okay.
But she didn't like one team. She liked individual players on different teams. And then she hated certain players on other teams. She'd say they're mean or they're whatever. They shouldn't do that. And especially South Carolina was part of ACC at the time, University of South Carolina. And they had a couple of players. One of them was named Roach, was his last name. They had a couple of players that my mother did not like. And
that's funny.
And then she'd like she might like even a Duke player. I remember there's one that was kind of had a bad reputation, but she goes, oh, that's just, was it Kenny Denard maybe? She goes, oh, that's just Kenny being Kenny. And I mean, she's so funny. I don't know what rule
how
book or
she
her
chose.
own. Yeah, she had her own absolute methodology in her mind and her heart. And anyway, so
Interesting.
that's how she followed ACC basketball, and she loved ACC basketball.
That's hilarious. She would have loved Sports-ish if she were alive today. If listeners, if you don't know Sports-ish, that's basically it's pitched as sports for girls, but it's also, you know, all sorts of guys are interested in it too because it covers the personal lives basically of athletes and their spouses, and it's pretty funny to follow.
All right. Anyway,
Anyways, okay.
so
Well, thanks,
got it.
thanks, Ashton. You got to keep dad honest. There we go.
Yep.
And then the last thing in the mailbag is there was surprise, anger, and shock over a certain player not winning the American League MVP in baseball. That player is one that we've talked a lot about on the podcast, the big dumper, Cal Raleigh.
Absolutely.
You've praised him as being the greatest catcher of all time, one of the
Well,
greatest players of all time.
since Johnny Bench and a couple other catchers. So he's one of, yes, he ranks up there for what he's done offensively and defensively. I didn't say he's the greatest, but he's definitely in that top echelon of catchers in the history.
Yeah.
He's done things most other catchers have never thought of doing. So I'm with Chris. Absolutely a ripoff. Aaron Judge winning it again. I mean,
yeah.
Come on. And they the Yankees didn't even go to the World Series. I mean, come on.
Right. That's what weirded me out about it.
So I think it's market driven, it's Yankee bias driven. So I'm with Chris. It disgusted me. Yeah. I was
that's
very
like
disgusted.
the league gives that award, right? Whoever is on the board or whatever. Of the MLB.
Yes. These are their awards, right? Yep.
Okay. So what is interesting is I don't know if this is put on by the league or if it just happens organically, but I wanted to call out a couple good moments of sportsmanship. So on this topic, Cal Raleigh was voted Player of the Year by the players themselves. So I guess they have a player vote. So I thought that was pretty cool that and apparently all their commentary on social media was, Aaron Judge, you're great, but Cal deserved it this year. And Aaron Judge himself, he went out to say Cal Raleigh he deserved it and he was the best this year. So he gave a lot of props and respect to him, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, I think Aaron Judge is great. Yeah, I think he's a great guy. So that sounds just like him. That sounds what I would expect.
Seems like a pretty class act.
Yep.
From what little I know. Okay. Then the other moment of sportsmanship leads us into our sports speak term of the week, which, I'll go ahead and introduce it now. So kind of transitioning softly out of mailbag into sports speak.
Let us learn some sports speak.
Okay. So the term this week is game ball. So I've got a lot of questions about this. So let's come back to my questions and just start with this story this week, which was the Lakers played against the LA Lakers played against the Milwaukee Bucks. So we're switching to basketball here, and Giannis, we can't ever remember how to say his name, Antetokounmpo or whatever. I can't.
Cool, yeah.
And anyways, but everybody calls him Giannis because his name's very hard to say. He's known as the Greek Freak because he's just one of the greatest players of all time. He deserves such a cool nickname. Nike, he's got a signature shoe with Nike. Very revered player. And I saw clips of him grabbing a ball from a ref after this game with the Lakers and giving it to one of the Lakers players because the story is basically that there was a rookie on the Lakers. His name was Adu Thiero, I think. Adu. Anyways, so Adu is this rookie, and what I can infer from the headlines I was seeing is that when you're a rookie and you score your first points in the NBA, you get the game ball traditionally, is what I understand. And so in this case, the game ended, and the Lakers won. And for some reason, the refs refused to give a ball to the Lakers, and everybody was like, "Come on, it goes to the rookie." Everybody. So there's a whole to do about it on the court. Anyways, Giannis from the Bucks, the losing team, comes up, takes the ball, and just gives it to the Lakers. So there's a little bit of interesting backstory to Giannis on this. But first of all, can you tell us a little bit more about what's going on with this game ball situation?
Well,
First of all, is there one every game?
So in all sports, it's a little different, right? So it all depends on what level. But yes, almost every sport. Like if you watch an NFL locker room highlight afterwards, you'll see a coach. So first of all, one question you would have is there more than one game ball? At times there are more, but there's nothing set. Here's the no rules thing. This is just whatever the culture is of that team, especially head by the head coach, right? All the way down to Little League Baseball. Like we always gave out a game ball when we coach, my grandsons and all the coaching I ever did. When it's baseball, because they're so easy to give away, right?
Mm-hmm.
At the level flag football we just coached, we couldn't give a ball away. We would just have to say good things about players and exceptional things that they did and build them up after the game. Basketball, same thing. There's no basketball to give away at the lower level, but at the NFL level, NBA level, but especially NFL level. Now I know they generally give out at least usually 2 game balls, a game ball for the whole game or offense, and a game ball maybe if the defense was exceptional. They might give out a guy who had multiple sacks, but that comes from the head coach. Or the head coach asks the defensive coordinator to give it for the defense. So every culture is different. So everyone's different, but they generally, yes. And game ball is just acknowledge, recognize exceptional playing for the team on that given day. Basketball, it's like I said, football is more common. Baseball, definitely. Basketball, it's unusual. But stuff like that, what Giannis did, yeah, there's certain balls you definitely retrieve. NFL, especially NFL football, first touchdown catch of a rookie, they get that ball. You'll see equipment manager go get it from the ref. They'll write something on, tag it, and get it in a bag and put it into the equipment bag. Date and time, the time and what the player is, they put on a note, stick it in a bag, and that'll be given to the player. So certain things, certain monumental occasions, of course, when there's the 300th home run ball, they'll try to get it from the fan, and they end up might have to buy it, sell it, or whatever. Negotiate swag, whatever big stuff they can for certain game balls. Those are kind of game balls too. Anything that gets accomplished,
anything
in a big
landmark
way.
Or a milestone, representing
absolutely.
a milestone.
But if not, other than that, the most common is in the locker room, just with the team and coaches, and they give out a game ball. That's pretty common. Basketball, though, not so common. Football, very common. Baseball, common. But it all depends on the different levels. And
so it's just case by case. But then that begs the question of, what was the ref doing, like refusing to give this ball away?
Who knows?
Like, are the refs in charge of the balls for some reason?
No, not really. Not after the game. After the game, they shouldn't have anything to do with the balls. Then it becomes the equipment managers or whoever's handling that team at the home game, home team. So I don't know. I heard that, but I didn't even pay I thought, well, you know me. I thought,
that
I
doesn't
thought
stick out to you.
Miscommunication or what a dummy. That's all I thought. So I didn't spend much time with it. But I like Giannis. That sounds just like Giannis, right? You see the movie? You've seen the movie about his life, right?
No.
Oh,
you mean documentary? Is there a documentary about him?
Yeah, it might be a full-fledged movie. I can't remember. Yes, it's really worth watching, and you learn about his brother and family and their whole just to be playing basketball in Greece, much less start getting noticed, much less find a track or a pathway to the NBA. So pretty fascinating story, and his family, and believe me, really neat story about what it took for him to become what he does today. Yeah, what he is today.
Well, I'll have to check it out. But a little bit of backstory I want to give before we move on, which is that Giannis, I think this is him making amends for a past incident, which in the past, there was a game a couple years ago, actually almost exactly 2 years ago, December 2023, where they beat the Indiana Pacers, and Giannis scored 64 points in that game, which was a franchise-setting record. Or a franchise record. I don't know how it was a franchise
record. Mm-hmm.
And so the Pacers, they had a rookie that scored his first points that night. So there was kind of that Giannis had this milestone, and then this rookie had his milestone. And there's a misunderstanding where somebody on the Bucks already had the ball for Giannis in the locker room. The refs gave them 2 balls because they're both landmark things, and but he didn't know that, and so Giannis, in a fury, sprinted down the tunnel of the Pacers to go and track down this ball and yell at whoever took it, because that was his ball that night. So he caused quite a scene. He came back out, couldn't find it, started yelling at one of their star players. I can't remember who it was. Caused a big scene. And so there's footage of that online that's pretty funny. Later, it all turned out, like I said, his ball was already in the locker room. So pretty funny. So my theory is that Giannis was making up for his scene from a couple years ago, and matter-of-factly making sure this rookie got his
sounds like
ball
he
tonight.
learned. He grew from that situation. Yeah.
So, okay, I thought you'd like that little
I like
Cooper
that
tidbit for you tonight.
Nice.
All right. Well, let's get into our actual sports news.
Sports Sense.
So, Dad, there were more. Well, I want to ask you this, Dad. How would you feel being a professional coach right now compared to other years? Would you feel any different this year?
Okay, so professional mean professional sports, NBA.
Yeah,
NFL.
If you were coaching the NBA or NFL or college.
Because I would include college, yes.
Yeah.
So I would feel that your spot as the head coach is tenuous almost no matter where you are. I think it has a lot to do with each team, and whatever team I coached for, their level of expectations, right? And that's what I think you can lead into about what you're getting ready to talk about. So certain universities and certain teams, I think I would understand. I wouldn't be ignorant to the fact, right? Sometimes you know the world and you know the business of sports, professional sports at the highest level. When you're the head coach, you're making the big bucks. I mean, there's head coaches in college making a lot more money than head coaches in the NFL. Pretty crazy. But
yeah,
so I think I would understand the environment, what's expected, and then I would probably always feel like I'm at minimum. I don't know if we've ever called it or talked about it, sitting on the hot seat or at least on a warm seat.
Yeah.
No matter what.
Like more than other years, wouldn't you say?
I think so. Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of money has changed a lot of this, and college, NIL and portal has changed a lot of it, but most certainly very different than times past where a lot of owners in the NFL and NBA would allow time for development and patience, but not anymore for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, so what we're getting into is that there were yet even more coach firings this week. Okay, we had New York Giants head coach Brian Dahl get fired after.
I saw how you wrote that. It's Daboll. It's Daboll.
Daboll. I don't know. Okay, Daboll. I don't know how I missed that.
Daboll. Yeah.
Brian Daboll. Okay, I don't know. Yeah, weird. And then the Dallas Mavericks fired their general manager Nico Harrison, who had been around for just a few years. And then the New Orleans Pelicans, which that's an NBA team. If you didn't know them, I didn't know that existed. They fired their head coach Willie Green. So
yes,
every week this has been the story for like a couple months now that we've been seeing constant firings, mid-season, mid-contract for these people. They have to buy out these contracts. So it's just getting crazy. So I just wanted to briefly bring that up, that's still ongoing. And if you're looking for a job, maybe you could apply for one of these coaching jobs, because there are quite a few openings right now around the country.
Well, and the NBA with Willie Green, that's tough. I mean, they only played 8 games. I think they're like 2-6 or something.
Man.
So I'm not sure how some of these owners think in that area. I mean, if you didn't like them, why didn't you get rid of them during off season, right?
Right.
And how could you feel that differently with them 8 games in? And it's the Pelicans. That's Zion Williamson. They spent their number 1 pick years ago. He's had lots of injuries, but man, he has lost a ton of weight and shaped up, and he was looking pretty good. So anyway, there wasn't that much expected of them anyway. I don't know why they would come out of the chute so quick on that. Now, Nico Harrison, that's hilarious. Now, I will say, this is something that's, I think, very different in today's world. We know they got Cooper Flag, right? That was their number one pick in Dallas. We know they traded away probably best player and second best player, third best player in NBA, right, to LA. We went through this last year, at the end of the last year. So granted, general manager, I feel like some ways lost his mind. I don't know if, that was questionable. But what's happened, they got Cooper Flag. They have Anthony Davis, who's a great player, but he's injured. He's older. But and Cooper's going to be a while developing, but he's already shown flashes of brilliance. But it's been the fan base at the games and social media. But at the games itself, you got Cooper Flag having like an incredible night, like his best rookie night so far. He's killing it. And almost the entire game, the chant is "Fire Nico, Fire Nico." That was the whole fan base. Yeah. So there's such a distraction. So there comes a point in this case, I think the owner had not planned to do that yet. Maybe he was going to wait all season, maybe see how the season went. But it became such a distraction, the best word I can come up with. And the fans are the ones that really did it. They really ran him out of town. They
Mob
were still
mentality
ticked. Yeah, they were still ticked off about them trading Luka to LA. And so that's a crazy one. That's a general manager that had done well and had built a pretty good roster and done good things over the last few years. So anyway, that one I thought was interesting.
When I was reading about it, it said he helped, like under his management, the Mavericks made it to the playoffs a couple of years ago, which is pretty good, pretty tough to do.
Yeah.
So anyways,
but just that was fan driven. That really was, I think, 100%.
So it's almost, it was almost a branding move to help the fan base feel a little bit better about the team, it sounds like.
And sometimes I've told you before, it used to be the tail wag the dog. That means the minority would they get public opinion, they get public media, and it would sway certain opinions. And I've said the last many years, the tip of the tail was wagging the whole freaking dog, all over and I think this happens somewhat now in the fandom, and it all depends on your owner, how sensitive they are to it, or if they're an old owner, been around a long time, they feel and they know they don't even come out in public, they do everything right, kind of behind the scenes, they wouldn't be swayed by that. But some owners, they're swayed by it.
Well, it'll be very interesting to see where the Dallas Mavericks go from here. So keep an eye on them. Sounds like they've got pretty good rookie star this year with Cooper Flag. So, and not just because he's named Cooper. Okay, well, let's move on from that. I had a
wait. I liked your other sports news. You slipped one in there about Belichick.
Oh yeah. So okay, thank you. Yeah, in the wake of the Giants coach being fired, the New York Giants.
Right. There you go.
So we've talked about Bill Belichick a lot on this podcast. He is the former Tom Brady Patriots coach. Is he the most winningest? Is he the winningest?
They won 7 together, I guess.
NFL head coach,
6 or 7. So not total wins, but I think Super Bowls.
I think he's won more Super Bowls than any other coach.
I think so. Now,
from what I've read. So, anyways, he got moved to UNC this year. This is his first year coaching college football at UNC, and they've had kind of coming back to make it a middling season, but a pretty disappointing start. And he's basically been laughed at this season. But it seems like Carolina fans have kind of it seems like they're optimistic, and we'll see where it goes. But
that's because basketball season started.
Yeah, they're feeling a little better about themselves. So, anyways, his name came up when the New York Giants fired their coach because I guess he had a history at the Giants, right? Like as a young coach,
as an assistant,
as a young assistant coach, and so I guess he's got some attachments there and connections there, and
definitely.
So the internet was rumoring that they were looking at him and that he was maybe gonna move that way, but he commented on it saying, absolutely not. I am dedicated to UNC. I want to stick this out. and I'm not looking at NFL coaching positions right now. So we'll have to see if he's telling the truth.
So my question to you is, do you believe him at all?
That's why I was saying we'll see if he's telling the truth. Because
there's no way. I don't believe him as far as I can throw him, and I can't throw him very far.
I don't know. That's a better question for you. How serious do you think?
I think he would definitely look at an entry point, and I guarantee if he has an interest in the Giants, back channel conversations are already happening. Yeah. Absolutely, no doubt in my mind. I think he'll check right out of UNC at the end of the season. He will not. They're not going to a bowl unless maybe they pull off an extra win here. I don't know. Maybe they will. Yeah. But even if they go to bowl, it won't matter. He could very well, I believe. Now I just don't, because he had no one knocking, no NFL team. That was the shock, right? No NFL team was knocking on his door as far as anybody knew. And if there were a team, even though, Giants, Jets are really bad, but Giants have some positive history. Now their owner is a little, this is tough to work for. They keep making changes, but I would say that where there's smoke, there's fire on that one. That back channels, and he said exactly what he had to say. He affirmed that he's not looking to go back to the NFL. Well, you can parse that any way you want, but he is not looking. He's right now. Doesn't mean
somebody else is looking for him.
Back channels are happening and discussions, and I think he'll go back if he gets a head coaching job offer in NFL, especially if it's the Giants. Giants might not want him. I don't know. Nobody really wanted him before, but be interesting. I just kind of I chuckle when I saw that same lead article on that and said, "All righty." I just think that's pure coach speak. PR. What you got to say? Yeah. Anyway, but that was good. Well, you connected it well with the Giants, so that's great.
Well, thank you. Okay, well, let's move on. I really want to give you a chance to talk football because it was an interesting weekend of football. But let me tell you one more quick story before we move on. This one actually caught my eye before last week's episode, but I didn't look into it, and I didn't think anybody was talking about it. But as last week went on, it became a bigger and bigger story. So there's a little group of islands just above the UK somewhere, or Scotland, somewhere around there. Okay, it's on that side of the world. You guys can look it up if you want, but they're called the Faroe Islands, Faroe. And they have a tiny population of 55,000 people. Very tough climate, frosted over.
This is the North Atlantic, right? Yes, like at the very tip of the North Atlantic or something.
Very cold and brutal environment, so the population hasn't grown a lot over the hundreds of years. But they have a fascinating history, and from what I was reading, and they do have a national soccer team. And so, if you don't know, I think I mentioned it last week, the World Cup is approaching, which every 4 years is the Soccer World Cup. We're calling it soccer on this podcast because we're Americans. And so we're going to keep football to football and soccer to soccer. Anyways, this World Cup is on its own without this story. It was anticipated to be one of the best of all time because it's got this constellation of incredibly famous players that are all going to be there. Ronaldo and Messi are the two biggest names, and there's a couple others. The World Cup is going to be held next summer. It's going to be in Canada, US, and Mexico. So I've actually got friends that are going to a couple World Cup games, which I don't think I've ever had a friend go before. So that's kind of cool. Okay, story I'm trying to get to, though. So that's the context. But there's this little team from the Faroe Islands, not even made of professional full-time soccer players like every other World Cup team. All the players getting millions of dollars just to go and fake a trip and kick the ball a little bit. Just kidding. I'm being we're a little extra mean to the soccer players here, but the Faroe Islands team, let's see what my notes says. Their roster included carpenters, electricians, and it said a CEO and a car salesman. So business guys too.
Yeah, that's great.
I saw pictures in this New York Times article of one guy literally repairing the electric box of a house and stuff. So they basically are down to earth people. They can't afford really for most of their team to be full-time soccer players. they don't have any full-size indoor soccer fields. So in the winter, it's too icy and snowy a lot of the time, so they really can't even play or practice much. A decade ago, they had a really so I'm just throwing out facts at you here, okay, just for fun, Dad. I read one of their most promising young stars in their history was crushed to death on a dock by a load of fish, literally a ton of fish, and somehow something malfunctioned, dropped on him, and he died instantly. So he was working a dock. Like, these are the kinds of guys we're talking about. So anyways, they've never made it particularly far in the World Cup run. So there's all these qualifying rounds to get accepted into the tournament, and they were on a hot streak last week. I think they had won 3 or 4 in a row and upset some teams. And anyway, so people online were starting to get pretty excited about this little Cinderella story. Yeah. And anyways, Friday they played Croatia, which is a known superpower in the soccer world apparently. And they got crushed. So they did score a goal. They lost 3-1, but that eliminated their chances. But anyways, it was a really great run for them though, and just a cool story that people in the sports world were getting excited about. So just wanted to tell you that story.
No, I'm glad you put it on my radar. I hope somebody does some sort of special about them, right? I mean, it didn't quite make it to the Olympics like the Jamaican bobsled team, but man, I mean, World Cup qualifying is brutal anyway. I mean, it does not lend itself to upset or underdogs, as you noted here, because you have so many qualifying games and a certain amount of points you have to accumulate. I mean, I understand the World Cup fairly well about the structure of it. So, it's one thing to go into a tournament and have to win like basketball or something. You get one shot or 2 games, you could get hot and do something freaky for 2 games, but there's so much more required to qualify for the tournament for World Cup. So now I hope somebody does a special on them. That'd be a 30 for 30 or something like that at ESPN. I would watch it in a heartbeat. And, I'd love to see a 30 for 30 on it. I mean, they do great, specials that are hour long or something. So
when I was reading about them, I was like, this sounds exactly like a group of guys Dad would love. So they just
absolutely. I'm going to look them up and read about them and hope that gets to be a really good special about them.
Yeah. Well,
so awesome.
Happy or sad ending, depending on how you look at it, but really cool moment in sports last week with the Faroe Islands soccer team. Okay.
Yeah, cool.
All right, let's get into football. So, Dad, I'll let you see the headlines I wrote. I'll let you introduce and just talk through some of these big football moments last week.
We'll do it. Well, let's first of all, let me go ahead and accept my defeat for my national champion pick for this year. So, if you could
remind us all,
if you do a meme for me or something of a plane going down in flames, this is it. So my pick was Texas. And Texas is no longer a viable option. They are not going to make it. In fact, let's see. We'll switch this real quick. They will not make it to the CFP college football playoff. They have lost too much. But here we go. They should have already announced. That's live. Anyway, so Texas is gone. So let's just, I hate to see my team already not going to be part of the 12. Oh, that hurts so bad. But they got smoked by Georgia. Georgia manhandled them in every way.
So I want to take this. We have a nice callback here because our first episode was titled Georgia Clobbers Texas a year ago.
Oh, was it? Really?
Yeah. So for a second year in a row, we can say Georgia Clobbers Texas.
Oh my gosh. Let's see if they got this on.
But this time it actually took Texas out of the runnings
of
the playoffs, you're saying. So that's crazy.
All right. Yes. So that's that. We're done. I don't have to talk about Texas anymore. That just stinks. But anyway, so we'll come back to college here in a second. I liked a couple of your notes. So let's talk NFL.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. The question I posed to Dad in our notes is, since when are the Patriots good? I after Tom Brady left years ago, I haven't heard of a whiff of Patriot news, honestly. But it seems like this year they kind of came out of nowhere, and now they're tied for the best record in the NFL currently. So Dad, take it from there.
Yeah, they are really good. Number one, they got their second. They made what it looks like going to be a franchise quarterback pick last year, and this will make your family members who are Carolina fans happy. Drake May from UNC. They picked him last year. He had a good rookie year. Up and down some. This year he's getting better, but he's got a new coach this year, former Tennessee Titan coach, that's why I'm going blank on his name. He played for Bill Belichick and Belichick for the Patriots forever. So I'll figure it out. It'll come to me in a second. But so he's a great coach. Tennessee got rid of him because he'd been there so long, and sometimes it just doesn't work out. And they were in roster spot problems. They were in cap hell problems in terms of money. And anyway, so he left them last year and came to and he's a great coach. So their roster, they have a good general manager. For the last 3 years or so, they have had a lot of good picks because they weren't very good, right? They struggled. Bill Belichick's last couple of years there, now, one thing he was not particularly good at he was in control of it and was acting as general manager, and that was really his draft picks. He really had some bad draft picks, and so the cupboard was kind of bare there for a few years, for 3 or 4 years anyway, and so that's why it was quiet. You didn't hear from him that much, and anyway, so that has been reversing course. New coaching, new better picks than from the general manager, and QB, that's the key. Drake May just is making it happen. I mean, they're even to talk about him in the second year. He's one of the MVP candidates for the year. Man. So that makes a huge difference. Interesting enough, they started the season 1-2, a little bit of stumble out of the gate, but they have now won 8 in a row.
Wow.
The Patriots, and they lead their division. So they lead their division, which the division is, and sadly, this was my Super Bowl pick. The Buffalo Bills are now basically, what are they? A game and a half. They're a game and a half behind the Patriots. No one expected that. But I still expect the Bills to get in the playoffs. Still expect them to do well and hopefully get to the Super Bowl. But they're a game and a half behind the Patriots. Interesting enough that, too, real quick, Patriots are 5-0 on the road. So they play well. They travel well, as they say. And that has a lot to do with your defense. If your defense is really stout, which New England's, is I wouldn't say they're one of the best, but they're strong, they're stout. That they travel well, and then Drake May as their leader and their QB, their offense is traveling well, and they're 5-0 on the road. So that's about the Patriots. And then you ask about the Broncos. Yep, go ahead.
Sorry. Quick sidebar. What do you mean when a team is a game and a half behind? Like, why would you say game and a half?
So you get an automatic berth in the playoffs if you win your division. Remember we talked about divisions? Well, the Patriots and the Bills, and you don't have to worry about the Jets. Jets are in their division. I'm trying to remember who their other one is. But anyway, so the Patriots, if you look at their record is whatever it is. What are they? 9-2, right? 9-2. And I think the Bills are 7-4. Or 7-3 because they've already had a bye week. So they're 1.5 wins, if you will, /losses behind.
So the bye week is. I'm concerned about the half that you keep mentioning. Is that the bye week?
I'm sorry. So that comes from the bye week. So they played. The Bills have played one game less at this point. That will be corrected. Yeah, the Patriots have their bye week.
And lost one more than the Patriots have. So they're 1.5. Okay.
So they're 1.5 games behind them.
Okay. Cool. That makes sense. And for people, I mean, I think most people know what a bye week is, but it's just when you don't play a certain week. It's just like
they give every team one of those weeks off to heal or whatever, recover throughout the season. Everybody gets one week off.
Cool.
Makes sense? So that's a big deal, and I love seeing their success. And Drake May's a North Carolina boy, not just university. He's a North Carolina boy.
Native.
He had a brother that was really great in basketball at Carolina. So it's fun. It's fun to see him be successill. I like that.
All right.
Quickly, let's just touch on the Broncos. How about that?
Yeah, I mean, so the Broncos are the other team tied for. They have a 9-2 record, so they're tied for best record in the NFL with the Patriots. So yeah, what's up with them?
And they've won 8 games in a row.
Mm.
Now their wins,
Wow.
they've got a quarterback that's a lot more up and down than Drake May, but Bo Nix. Crazy thing is, this is his second year. He's had 4 fourth quarter comeback wins. Led the charge. One
Wow.
of them was we talked about it a few weeks ago. Where they set the record, right? 32 points or whatever, 31
Yeah,
points,
like
32 points
the
in the
biggest
fourth quarter.
differential
Yeah, yeah.
of coming
They
back.
made
Yeah.
it up, whatever it was. So anyway, so theirs has been done very differently, but they're in a tough division. But they're 2 games ahead in their division, and who's chasing them is your brother-in-law's favorite team, who is won 3 of 4, but they just lost a bad one, the Chargers.
Mm.
They've had so many injuries; they've really had a rough go. Everybody pretty much picked the Chargers to win that division, but right now, Broncos are dominating it, and the Chiefs have fallen back. So that's who they, they just, um, they just manhandled. They manhandled. Let's see, how did they do it? They threw anyway. They won 22-19, right, against Kansas City. And Kansas City was desperate. They needed to win. They were 5 and
Yeah.
4. They needed to go to 6 and 4, have a chance at the division. And that hasn't sunk the Chiefs, but they're in deep trouble. They're in some deep trouble because they play some tough games coming up. But anyway, Broncos, they've got. So do you know the history of the coach, right? That's what's really turned this around. It's Sean Payton. Sean Payton was the great coach for the New Orleans Saints back when the Saints were winning a lot and going to the Super Bowl.
Oh,
And
cool. Okay.
he had some sort of issues with the league for a year and this and this and that. And anyway, he took a few years off from coaching. He waited for the right opportunity, and the Broncos called him last year. So I think it's been last year, year before last. Maybe it's been 3. Maybe this is his 3rd year. But he's built a great team again, and he's really a great coach. He really is a great coach. So Sean Payton's their coach, and he's killing it. So that's the Broncos. That's why it's such a big deal. And you had a nice quote, and here's why. He says, Broncos officials consider Sunday's game versus the Chiefs the biggest NFL game in Denver in almost a decade, right? Since the 2016 AFC Championship game, which Peyton Manning and Tom Brady squared off against each other. It's because they had so many down years since. That was the year Peyton Manning, the defense really won it, but Peyton Manning was the quarterback. He left Indianapolis Colts. This was his 2nd trip to the Super Bowl, and they won the Super Bowl. So there really hadn't been anything. So this is probably about the biggest game, and the Chiefs has been one of their nemesis, and the Chiefs have been the dynasty the last few years. Not Broncos have been just lowly at the bottom of the division. So that's why it was such a big deal. And then they beat them, and now they're leading the division by 2 games.
It was symbolic of their massive comeback, basically.
Yes, of working their way back into great relevance, and they're looking good. So anyway, that's pretty cool.
By the way, I won't tell this story here, but there's a giant blue sculpture of a Bronco in front of the Denver airport. And you've got to Google it and read the story about the sculpture and the artist who died making it.
Oh, are you kidding? Oh my gosh.
It's pretty insane. Macy and I just were reading the Wikipedia page, and our eyes kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And we were led to that by a meme that we saw. Anyways, so it's Denver Broncos, there's a football team, but then there's a massive blue one from the airport that has a fascinating story. So go read that later for fun. Okay, well, Dad, let's move into our final segment, wrap up this episode, and talk about
the big game.
Okay, usually we do recaps, but we already recapped 2 of your picks last week: Texas versus Georgia and Kansas City Chiefs versus Denver Broncos. Do you want to mention the Seahawks versus the Rams?
Well, just quick that the Rams handled business, but show you how good the Seahawks defense is. Rams won 21-19. But Seahawks quarterback Darnold threw 4 interceptions, and they still had a chance to win the game. Kind of shows you how good Seattle is. And I feel like I called it. That was a great game. I mean, it was a nail biter, 21-19. Crazy things happen. So that was fun. But anyway, the only other thing I'll throw out there is on the college front is Oklahoma number 11 beat Alabama number 4. That was a big deal in the SEC because Alabama was 6-0 at the time, so they're 6-1. Kind of get themselves in a little bit of a potential mess. That was the first SEC loss. All right, now you're going to think, All right, I'm giving you just one for the NFL. To me, there weren't a lot of great matchups. But Tampa Bay going to LA Rams. They both lead their division. Tampa Bay, that's our team's division, Carolina Panthers. And we're only one game back from Tampa Bay right now. They're 6-5, and we're or in the division. Anyway, we're one game back. But Tampa Bay's had some injuries, but they got Baker Mayfield. He's such a big personality and such a gamer, and he's going to get Matthew Stafford, which with the Rams, probably the best offense going almost, I think, in NFL right now. So it's going to be a great game. That is definitely the NFL game of the week, the big game of the week for sure. And again, they both lead their division. Game. Yeah, I know. They're so good, and this is going to be a good matchup. Next, and I'm going homer a little bit on the college game. There's not many matchups on the college side. There's only a couple of top 20, 25 teams playing each other, but I got to go. Because there's so much importance to it. Number 12, BYU against number 25, Cincinnati. Well, you got to have it because BYU has one path, as it looks like, one path to get to the CFP, and that's to win out these last couple of conference games and then get into the in the Big 12 conference championship game and win it, which means they probably be playing Texas Tech again, and they need to win it or at least lose by a hair and maybe get an at-large bid. But the only way they for sure can get in the CFP, BYU, is
they got to win the next few games.
They got to win the games. So have you seen that David Portnoy? From
but you should describe it.
Well, he's going crazy. I mean, I don't know. I know he's huge following.
So Dave,
what's it called?
Well, I'll say who Dave Portnoy is for those who don't know.
Yeah,
he started Barstool Sports, which has become a massive sports news franchise throughout the country and probably maybe the world. Anyways, at least the country. Okay, so that's Dave Portnoy. So his opinion means a lot to a lot of people.
It does. And what's interesting, he came to BYU for the Utah game, I think. And that's where he did all these different little video clips of trying the ice cream at BYU. He fell in love with Provo and pizza. He just fell in love with it. And I think, and I mean this, he's massive in sports, right? He's been everywhere and done everything and knows everyone almost in sports. And he loves the college sports. I think he really came to Provo and really saw and felt. I really believe it. He felt the difference of what Provo's like and Brigham Young University's like and BYU football's like. It's different than anywhere else in the whole country. Totally different. And I think he felt that. And he became a fan because he is going crazy right now preaching the good word of BYU football. He is saying no matter if they lose to Texas Tech again, they should be in the college football. He said they get no respect. He just did a news rant this morning or yesterday. You ought to go see it. It's a massive rant on his show.
This morning. Okay.
Well, it was either that or yesterday, whenever it was.
Okay, yesterday, the one where he said, put respect on there.
Yes.
Yeah, so we put that on the SportSense Instagram story yesterday, but it was very validating to hear as a BYU fan.
And he gave a lot of good reasons. Well, anyway, he was on a roll busting his guys. I don't even watch the show that much, but he's got his guys on there. One guy, he goes, oh yeah, I guarantee you whatever his other guy was that's on their show, I bet he's already picked Cincinnati. And the other guys started laughing because he goes, see, no respect. He doesn't like BYU. He doesn't like Mormons. And he goes, whoa. I never said that. I'm like, that was funny. But anyway, so that's a pretty big backer for our football. But we've got to win out to get a chance.
Right.
So that's
after
the
an endorsement like that, you cannot lose. Oh my
gosh. No. Oh my gosh. And last, I'm slipping one in on you. This is a little recap, but BYU basketball had that great chance. They played UConn last week, right? Ranked number 3. This was BYU's first big game at the Boston Garden. And did you know everything that happened,
I don't know what happened.
Right? What the heck? You don't know. Well, you heard about their starting forward 2 days before this big game, right?
Yeah, so they had a starter get arrested for a DUI last week.
Yes, way to go. He hadn't even been with our team 4 or 5 games yet, and he knows. Man, you don't get recruited to BYU and not know the rules, for gosh sake. So I'm ticked off of him, bad, right? And I'm they'll try to save his soul or something, maybe come back sometime in the season. I don't know. Or he'll transfer out. I don't know. But bottom line is that was a distraction. But here's the coolest part. We come, UConn, 2 out of 3 national championships. This is a real test for this team. Remember, we've talked about them. They're very young and new together, even though they got talent out the wazoo. They've got, I figure they wouldn't hit their stride till mid-season at least. Well, the first half was an embarrassment. We were down by 20 points. We stunk it up. We could not get going. AJ, our hero, he's rough first half. And then, no, here's the hope. They flew back in the second half, scored 52 points, and came within a second of tying the game to go into overtime. They lost by 2. They lost by 2. UConn, I mean, they're one of the top in the country, and BYU came back on them down 20 in the second half and showed them what they were made of. So they gave me great hope. And they only dropped a couple spots in the rankings this week because, number one, they lost to UConn, number 3 team in the country. But boy, did they show flashes in that second half. They showed what they could be this year, what they could be. And I love the fight in them. I was embarrassed and sickened by the first half. And then, boy, they sure made me believers in the second half. So I want to close with that.
Well, very cool. Yeah. Go Cougs. And thanks, Dave Portnoy, for the endorsement.
Yes.
And hopefully BYU does him right this weekend. With that, everybody, that was season 2, episode 13 of SportSense. Stick it out with us to continue getting ready for the Super Bowl in just a month or so here. We're kind of getting close to that time.
No, got a little longer. It's February.
February. Okay, couple months.
For the Super Bowl. Yeah. But we'll have a lot of college football bowl games starting December, late December
playoffs
through January. Yep. So we'll have lots of fun.
Okay. Well, thank you, Dad, as always. And thank you if you listen this far. We love you. And Dad, I love you. I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, love you, buddy. Great job, Coop.
Okay. See you, everybody.
SportSense.